episode of Speakers of Heidelin is made possible by our generous patrons. Special thanks to our supreme and master speakers, Omagecat Comet, Erisu Yamakawa, Alex Franco AV, Winebow Brood, Aurora Templeton, Psyche, Azuta Starbreeze, Cletus Oreo, Nina Grimstar, Lily Black, Bob CC, Mikta Rabentau, Anathus Moonscar, Pamela Isley, Elenriel Maximus, Codrith Novelist, Mira Miri, Celestao Nautral, Lazy Boy, Luke Osborne, Pandaloo Stormarrow, Tex, Kylin, Arthur Law, Barry Anderard, Cypup, Spencer Christmas, Celine DeLune, Edwin, Wubsta Wolf, Severa, Circa Barakil, Kazran, Ventos Tia, Ryark Forbear, Leighton the House, Tony, Arcadia Lunashine, Framboise Zaccaro, Bergie, Fudge, Zephiel, Cafe, and Gregorium Cartus. Get early access to audio and video versions of the show, including the post-show, by supporting us at patreon.com/SpeakersXIV. Thank you. This is Speakers of Heidelin.
Oh, no.
Good evening, Eorzeans. Welcome to Speakers of Heidelin, episode 412. I'm Lakeel Bravestone, and I'm joined today by Georgi Wiston, Mela Vanadar, and Rollo Des.
Fuck it, we're all in the cave.
We're all in the cave for a second. Yay! Yeah, there was a Windows update today, so everything was fucked. And it still is, it seems. Let me just sort this out. Yeah, it's 412. It is July 27th. That's Dunstan right there. Let me.
Whoa, hang on.
Just
Hang on a sec. What are you doing?
Do that.
Oh, there you go.
There he is.
Oh, hello.
Hey.
Okay, right. It is July 27th. It's the last episode of July 2024. That's crazy. We're almost
more than halfway through the year.
Yeah, God.
We're more than halfway.
We're more than
Yeah,
halfway. Yeah, we're entering the 8th month. Today, our top story is an interview with Yoshi-P with the French. There's been a lot of French with the French. Today, it's an interview. There's been a lot of French interviews released the past week with Yoshi-P because he's been in France. And he's been doing interviews. So today we're covering one from Millenium, I think it's called. It's a Q&A. We'll also be talking about the character popularity poll that's been going around. Very interesting. And of course, we'll be reading your MogMail, speakersxiv.com/MogMail. Stay tuned for the post-show. That'll be interesting to see how long the post-show will be. There will be a post-show. We do have questions from the syndicate, so make sure you catch that as well. All right, let's pray everything is working as it should as we go into recent events. Okay, we start off with Gamescom. It is tis the season
The most
for
French
Gamescom.
of all of the things.
Yeah, the most French.
Yeah, very, very French. Cologne, Germany.
Cologne, Germany, Europe.
Nothing more French than Cologne, Germany, Europe. Yes. Gamescom will be in Cologne, Germany. And 14 will have a presence there, starting August 21st, 2024, lasting until the 25th.
Let's go.
No.
Okay.
All right, then. Guess we're not going.
Activities are Battle Challenge and Dungeon Run. Unforgettable in-game experiences await whether you're a beginner or an experienced adventurer. Defeat Valigarmanda at our Battle Challenge and get your I Beat t-shirt. Yeah, they're back, baby!
They are
I
back.
see.
And can I say, having done Valigamanda in Trial Roulette a couple of times without using trusts, I don't fucking trust any of you motherfuckers to help me
luck.
get this T-shirt if I was to go.
No.
They undertune them for these, don't they? A little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll take away the dot so it doesn't just fuck up everyone.
Yeah, maybe.
It was not the dot that I've seen people have problems with, Rollo.
okay.
It's the moving together as a group for the repeated group-wide AoE when you have to hit the 3 towers.
You know what they should...
well,
they-
I'm a main character, so I don't move with the group.
That's true. They should remove all the mechanics.
Yes, exactly.
And,
just
and
stands
remove
there
the
and-
boss
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
You just
got,
stand on
like,
the cliff
12
Yes.
for an hour.
points.
Yeah. Players can also tackle Snowcloak
Whoa!
in our dungeon
No
run.
cloak.
Oh, out of all the dungeons, Snowcloak?
Wow.
The most exciting dungeon, the one that doesn't put you to sleep.
Oh my god. Newcomers are very welcome, so make sure to bring your friends along with you whom you've always wanted to introduce to 14. Oh yeah, that's a great
That'll get
introduction.
'em
Snowcloak.
yeah.
Where's the fucking
No.
shirt for that? Where's the I Beat
It's
Snowcloak
Fenrir
t-shirt?
from, Fenrir from Final Fantasy. Oh, wow, yeah, I love
I-
Fenrir.
You get a shirt that says "I stayed awake" during snow cloak.
So for the stage shows, exciting panels and in-game challenges will be available on our show floor on all days. Special guests, including familiar faces from the community, will be present to welcome you all at Gamescom 2024. Tarek, oh boy, I'm assuming these are European 14 creators.
Well, some of them are.
think
Tarek, Lythy,
Are these
Cruzeria
German
Area
ones? I
Luca.
guess.
Charles and
The
Nash.
king?
You know what my favorite part there was? You seemed to even hesitate when you said the creator Charles's name.
Yeah.
No, because one of
You
you
had to
keep
say some
clicking the
King
links, and when you do that, you cover the fucking thing. I can't read anything. I have to
Fucking
guess what's
anonymous frog.
behind.
This is an aside. I just got curious and checked out their profile. If you go to Nashlene's, one of the VODs is named Haba Haba Kagumi.
Oh.
And the rest is just German.
I
Just
see.
straight German.
Okay, so these are German
Just-
creators. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Play alongside Yoshi-P. Have you ever wanted to fight alongside Yoshi-P? Then get ready. You can join him
Yeah.
live on stage for various battle content from Thursday through Sunday.
Live
That
on
is-
stage.
That's cool. Yeah, live on stage.
that's epic.
You sit next to him. It's you, Yoshi-P, and Charles. You're all just there.
His Majesty.
Yeah,
If-
it's King Charles III.
famous,
biggest Final Fantasy 14
famous
content
German
creator.
14 streamer. If you're
I think they are.
if you're
They are, aren't they, the
interested,
Windsors?
yeah, that's true. If you're interested in participating, head to our info counter on the respective day and secure yourself one of the limited slots. And then there's photo spots. Make sure to visit our photo spots. Strike your favorite posts and share the moment with your friends using the hashtag FFXIV. Sorry, I should have said the FFXIV hashtag. Live stream. If you can't come to Gamescom 2024 in person, don't worry. The majority of the stage program will be broadcast live on the official FFXIV Twitch channel.
We'll be rebroadcasting it all with
With
full
no
screen
commentary.
With no
Oh, okay.
commentary.
No
We'll just
commentary.
restream it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You'll see our face cam. Just
Full
looking
of
at it.
it'll be like flipped so we don't get claimed, and then we have ads everywhere. Just
Yeah.
lots of ads.
Oh, but every 5 minutes we'll say, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's good, yeah.
Okay, fan celebration. Come join us in Cologne for a very special fan celebration. Details will be shared here on the Lodestone closer to the event, so keep your eyes open for more information. So there you go.
Wow,
There will be a
that
fan
sounds exciting.
celebration as well. Yeah.
Not a gathering, though, a celebration.
Yeah, celebrating. They're celebrating fans, I guess.
Ooh.
That's something to look forward to. If
That
you
sounds exciting.
I mean, sure. I don't know what it entails, but sounds
No.
exhausting. Actually, don't want to go.
Doesn't sound very German, does it, to
No.
celebrate?
No,
But-
they know how to celebrate. Germans? Come on now.
They have a whole month about it.
Yeah,
That's true.
Oktoberfest.
Yeah, if it's the right time of year.
It's the wrong time of year, though. So
It's the wrong time of year. It's the middle of August.
Mhm.
No, so they don't celebrate. They'll be very stern the entire time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so there you go. Gamescom 2024. Have fun. All Worlds maintenance coming up July 30th. In order to implement patch 7.05, maintenance will take place on all worlds at the time below, during which Final Fantasy XIV will be unavailable. We apologize for any inconvenience caused and thank you for your understanding. So, servers go down 7 a.m. BST, that's 8 a.m. Central European Time, 4 p.m. Australian Eastern Time, and 11 p.m. PDT. So, on July 30th.
Day before,
that is.
by the way.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yes, July 30th.
Well,
29th for the Americans.
America starts on the 29th.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, yeah, on the 29th. Sorry, yes.
Because they're behind ahead, whatever.
Yeah.
It's only really a bad time for Australia, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, this is...
Yeah, that's like...
Don't stay up late playing video games, guys. It's bad for you.
I mean,
That's true.
it's
Good
bad.
advice.
It's because that's like the end of the day for Japan. So
Yeah.
they're pushing it out at the end of their scheduled day.
Yeah.
And then all the Japanese people just got off their
Off work and
12-hour like salaryman shift. Now, the only thing I can think of doing after 4 hours of drinking with my co-workers, I'll play some Final Fantasy XIV in the capsule hotel because I can't go back to my family. What a life! I love that work culture.
Sounds great.
We thrive there, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So, the usual stuff that you'd expect. So 7.05 will be out, which means Savage will be out. Then, what else is coming with this patch?
It's Savage.
It's just Savage.
The maps, the roulette,
yes,
not the roulettes, but the normal
doors.
Pick the door.
The doors.
Yeah. So
which is cool. We can do that on stream.
Yeah, that's stream content. So there you go.
But that's it. And obviously new crafting recipes and shit.
Yeah.
Do that on stream too. Start crafting.
Yeah.
I cannot. I mean, sometimes we just sit in the stump, and do nothing. So maybe
you could be crafting.
Yeah,
we could be crafting.
Luke was complaining at me just yesterday that I hadn't leveled up my culinarian.
Mela,
and you got to get culinarian to 100.
The best
it's the time to make the money.
This is the time to make the money.
Culinarian is level 91. Get working, Luke.
Yours is 55.
Who cares? You were lording it over me. Yours isn't even 100.
We're not even. Is it Tuesday yet? Bitch.
All right, I'm looking forward to it then.
He could power grind. It's possible.
I'm looking forward to
I have 100 leaves ready and burning in my pocket, Mela. All right.
Accepted.
Okay, moving on. There is a NPC popularity poll that's been not making waves, but it's been an interesting glimpse into what the JP player base thinks of certain NPCs in the game. This is a ranking of NPCs in Dawntrail, well, let's just read it.
There's some interesting names in here, I think.
Yeah, we have the top 15. This is from yesterday. I don't know if this is updated daily, but
it would be updated daily.
Yeah, so this is yesterday's results. Number 1 is Erenvel.
That
I understand.
I'm glad he's up there.
Yeah, number 2.
I think there was a
he shined this
sacrifice made.
expansion.
Yeah,
there was. Yeah, well, I still think he shined.
Yeah,
Just
I wish
further away.
Yeah, I wish there was more, but yeah. 2 is Kryl, which I also think is deserved.
Deserved, yeah.
Bakul Jaja.
Are they bad too?
Have they been hit?
Just as bad?
Yeah.
They have been hit by the Bakul thirst.
Oh, it's insane. I don't understand it.
There's also Kakiwa, number 4.
That's nice to see.
Yeah. And then, Kefkia. I can never say her name right. It's Kefkia. Kafkiwa.
Yeah.
Sphene, number 5.
I think Sphene was okay. I don't know if she deserves super high, but she talked a lot, so I suppose that impacts it.
Yeah.
I like Sphene because I think there's an interesting conflict by her personality conflicting with her programming. I think that's interesting.
Yeah.
I wish we had more time with that. That's for sure.
Yeah, exactly. I agree.
Yeah. 6 is Otis, whom I think is
This makes me happy.
he's he's high on my list. I love Otis.
I love him. He's in the story for like 30 minutes.
Yeah, but that
But
says
he
so
really
much about
made
his
you
character, though. Like he was
I
such
know.
a big
I
impression.
think the rate at which the point at which he's introduced to the point at which he dies for the first time, I think is like really fast.
Mhm.
But,
Yeah.
I feel like but I do think they really work with what they've got in that.
Yeah. His time here, well spent.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes.
He burned brightly.
7 is Kona.
That's
Surprised it's not higher. I thought it would have been
I
up
thought
there
it
with
would be
like
Yeah.
higher too.
Bakul Jaja. And
good. I liked his
Arabelle,
level-headedness. I think he was a good character. I feel like Bakul Jaja's just, you got to calm down on the thirst. You got to stop now.
What this tells you is that if the competition for the Dawn Servant was a election of popularity, we'd be all working for Bakul Jaja.
Yeah. Number 8 is Honey Bee Lovely, which I think that's such a basic.
like
What's wrong with you?
Now
That's boring.
we're starting to get the territory of like, why are these options? I feel like they're kind of
literally
messing
every
with the votes.
literally
it
every
has
NPC.
It had every single
everyone?
NPC.
Okay.
Yeah,
All right,
every
that's
single
one
NPC.
fucking list.
Yeah.
Of one of the two people that had the least amount of votes, Rollo, the mayor of the outskirts in Heritage Found.
You had one vote.
Yes.
So that's just the idea. Like
dialogue.
that's just the idea. You could vote for anyone.
Yeah.
That's why some of
Alright.
these characters are here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could vote for anyone except the Scions, except Kryl.
Fair enough.
Except for Kryl, yeah. Okay, then there's number 9 is Gulul Jaja.
Too low.
Yeah,
His
I
character
think
was
he
so
should
good.
be above Honey Bee Lovely.
100%.
Yeah.
Honey Bee Lovely shouldn't be this high. It's so bizarre.
Listen, I like the memes. She's my queen. I love her.
Yeah.
I always skip M2. I would never fight her.
Of
But-
course.
Come on.
I see.
Come on.
She's only just been introduced and she's just doesn't have much.
She doesn't even
Ah.
talk to you after the fight like all the other
No.
people do.
Right.
Exactly.
For all you know, you killed her.
Exactly, yeah.
True.
Well, she comes afterwards and says, "Oh my god, you beat me."
Oh yeah, she does. Yeah, we do confirmed.
No,
But
she
maybe she
doesn't.
had a heart attack on the way out. So who knows?
She had to be escorted out of the building.
No, she did come out, didn't she? Or am I mixing it up with?
I don't think she does.
Is she not?
I don't think she does.
Oh,
Yeah.
no, she's dead.
No?
then.
I think
She's
only
dead.
Black Cat or whatever her name is, the wrestler.
Well, we
dude.
didn't kill Black Cat, so we probably didn't kill any of them.
Oh yeah, you're
Yeah.
right. We didn't see because when we were walking out, that was with Black Cat. Yeah. All
Yeah.
right. Yeah. Okay, so number 10 is Wuk Evu.
Love him.
Funny guy.
He's
I
one
don't
of
know
my
if
favorite.
I put him up here, but all right.
Apparently, the kind of humor related to Wuk Evu of like really respecting the proper process and stuff is very well
Yeah, I think it's
received in
very
Japan.
fun. I think
is
it's
what
very
I've
fun.
heard.
I
as
love
well.
him.
That
Yeah.
makes sense.
I really liked him.
Number 11, Wuk Lamat.
Both Wooks
Okay.
together.
Yeah.
Do you know what? One thing that I didn't like that they never discussed. They're both called Wook. Does that have any significance, or is it just happenstance?
I
it's
think there
the
is
name.
significance to the naming scheme because if you actually look around, a lot of other Hrothgar have have names that start with the first syllable. I don't know the full naming scheme. You'd probably have to look into it yourself on the official forum post or something.
Well, might
But
have
also,
that.
I don't know. We might not have the naming scheme for Turali Hrothgar yet. Actually, I think we might only have it for Helions and the Lost.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the rough. Yeah, I just want to know the significance of it because I just thought it was interesting that they were just called it and no one mentioned it.
I'll just finish.
Oh.
I'll finish the rest of the list, and then we can discuss
Sure.
the positions. Just so we, because I feel like we're gonna talk about it for a bit now. But number 12, Soralja. 13, Black Cat. 14, Gululja. And 15, Shale. So there you go. That's the list. That's the top 15 from this poll. JP.
Apparently, the naming scheme might be, I'm not 100% sure, is based on the Mayan calendar and the day they're born and the month.
Ah,
I don't know if the rest follow that naming scheme, but hers, Wuk is like a Mayan word.
Okay.
For like 7 or Jaguar, I guess, something like that. So that's why.
Okay.
That's cool then.
Right.
The rest of this is, again, I don't think Black Cat really has much of a huge
How
place
is-
there, but she's more important than Honeybee Lovely.
The fact that Black Cat is above Golulja, though.
That's sad. Poor little good.
Poor little Golulja.
Are the votings here just like, is it rank choice or is it just you pick
I think.
one?
Do they only get
think
one
you
option
can-
because you can't?
No, you can vote for it up to 5 people.
Oh,
You can only
okay.
vote.
okay.
You can only upvote people. You obviously can't downvote people. So
Right.
I can't
This
even
is only
imagine
based on-
having to pick. It would be so overwhelming for me to
Yeah.
see this list of names.
Yeah, it's just at
I-
least like 3 dozen, something like that.
Yeah.
I'm somewhat. I can agree with some of this. I think the raid characters should not be
I
this
agree with
high on
that.
the list. But
Yeah, it's maybe partly recency bias and also just they barely talk. They have cool
It's
designs.
just the meme of the
Yeah.
Honeybee Lovely song. It's the
Yeah.
song and the cutesiness, and people are like, well,
Yeah.
Who am I to
Like that.
judge? You know, what? I'm glad they like them.
yeah,
it's good to see some interesting side characters there. Otis is a great choice, obviously, but
Yeah.
I think
Shale,
Shale
too.
was my most favorite of the
Side characters.
Obsidian or whatever they're called.
Oblivion.
Oblivion.
yeah,
She was really cool. She was very understated visually, which I liked. She was just like a cool background character. I liked her.
yeah.
I hope she gets some play in the patches. I think she's a really. I like her design. I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And, she seemed. I don't know. It's chill.
Yeah.
I think one of the things you can take away from this is that with Wuk Lamat being 11th, even for the Japanese players, where they don't have the same issues that we have in regards to like how there are people in the Western fan base that dislike Wuk Lamat for reasons outside of her character and how she's used in the story. I think it's an indicator that in some way, they missed with how they portrayed her in the story, such that it did not resonate with certain people, or at least a not insignificant amount of the fan base.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The values in this are interesting. Like the gap between Arenville has 2,100 votes and Kra has like 1,400. So
It's massive power gap from first and second. By the way.
Yeah, it is.
it's a big gap between them, and then like everyone else, like the top 10, it's quite close.
Yeah.
More.
I think that like one image of like that soldier with his arms spread out covering the kids in the bed, like with knives and grenades coming at them.
Yeah.
I think that's what Wuk Lamat had to do so Arenville could have his moment.
Yeah.
She gets all the hate so he can walk.
Well, Wuk Lamat, I mean, I will say, we did say this during the review as well. I mean, I agree with Gyuri that she did overstay her welcome a little in the second half. And I think that might be why she drops in people's ratings. So, yeah.
I agree.
She's not...
Oh, still, she's high up in the rankings.
She is still high up.
Yeah.
But
She also, I mean, one of the things about Wuk Lamat is that based on someone did did the data for this, and she has more than twice the amount of spoken dialogue of the character with the most dialogue.
Yeah.
In terms of
That's
spoken
not
dialogue,
super great, like breaking up of the,
I think the person that had the second most is actually Sphene, and she doesn't appear
Yes.
until the second half of the story.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I feel like as a judgment for whether she's good or not, I think they just wrote a lot more for her is all. I don't think that's indicative of the quality there.
Well, that is the ranking.
Always cool to see. I think it closes on like the 30th or something towards the end of the month.
Yeah.
So be nice to see where they end up.
I think if you take the well, I don't know what the West would vote. I just don't think Honeybee Lovely would be above Google.
Oh, I think it would get memed up there. This would be another Bert situation
That's
where the best
true.
person doesn't win.
That's true.
Stupid ass.
But otherwise, I
Oh
think
my God.
Arenville would be on the top of this list.
100%.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Arenville would be high.
And I do
I
hope
think it would be more on it would track, yeah.
if the patch stories do not follow up on Arenville, that would be very, very strange to me. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on. Oh no, we have MogMail next. That's the end of recent events. But we will be talking more about Wuk Lamat.
What?
Ignore that. That's last week's slide. Don't worry about it.
That's fine.
Okay, let's jump into MogMail. This one's from Kamedani from Durandal. Hey speakers, I just finished the MSQ. Oh, that looks a lot.
Oh my lord.
I just finished the MSQ and watching the spoiler cast from the 14th. Overall, I agree with most of your opinions on Dawntrail, but I had a few issues with it and wanted to hear your thoughts. I would say Dawntrail is my second favorite expansion pack right after Shadowbringers. Let me say right out the gate that it is great and an awesome step forward for the next 10 years. It isn't perfect though. While I enjoy the totally new area and new storyline starting, I think the expansion suffered from presentation and pacing issues. This is especially true in the pacing of the first half before you go to Eorzean. There were times while playing I found myself desperately wanting to skip and actually do something, but I didn't want to miss story. There is entirely too much exposition and talking without giving us something to do in the process. At times, it felt like I was just sitting through a visual novel when there could have been solo duties or actually active quests instead of just sitting, clicking, and reading. At times, there are going to be multiple cutscenes in a row warning/notice almost felt like a threat, as you have just been walking from cutscene to cutscene already. Story is important, but it feels like at times they forgot this is a game. Also, when it comes to the exposition, I feel this expansion really suffered from wordiness and lack of editing. It kind of feels like an essay where the student has to reach a certain page limit. Take, for example, the part where we make the tacos. How many times and in how many ways do we need to discuss the spices and banana leaves? Right before the judge tastes them, Kryl even has a moment where she tells him about how they're made. I was sitting there thinking, girl, he knows. He's the judge. Let's get this moving. Finally, on pacing. I think Dawntrail suffered from Final Fantasy XVI syndrome. Huge hype moments that came to a grinding halt for exposition and world building. Take, for example, the train scene. We ride a bomb train, blast through the barrier, and fight our way into the dome. We're bringing the fight right to their front door. Next thing we do is find ourselves leisurely walking around with Sphene to farms and learning about their agricultural system. What? I enjoy learning the lore of the areas, don't get me wrong, but I feel the way they did it was a very stop-and-go presentation, where they dump info on you rather than letting you explore and find it when you want to. Personally, I think it would be better if they added a new kind of quest, making it a green quest marker or something that expands on the lore and history of the area you're in. I totally understand a key theme of this expansion is to know about the people Wuk is going to be the ruler of. But, do we need to know every last thing? Okay, that's my rant. As always, thanks for the content and fun streams. Well, thank you, Kamedani.
Thank you.
Thank you. Right. I do agree in some respects. There was a lot of cutscenes in this expansion. There were a lot of moments when you went from... there was a lot where I'd right-click on a character and get, slightly... annoyed that it faded to black, even in side content. That was a heck of a lot of cutscenes.
Yeah.
But I think the issue with adding in a lore type thing is difficult, because then you'd need to make the quests, the text change depending on if you've done them or not.
Yeah.
Or alternatively required, in which case then there's no point adding it. I think I agree with the Final Fantasy 16. I think Final Fantasy 16's pacing was really good. I loved Final 16. I think those quieter moments were important. But I suppose if you did the side quests, there was a lot of sudden stops in 16, I suppose, yeah.
Yeah.
The person that figured out how many lines of dialogue every character had that was spoken, also, I think this was the same person, also timed out the amount of cutscenes for the base expansion, all of the base expansions. Dawntrail ended up having more cutscenes than Shadowbringers, and I don't necessarily know if Dawntrail's story needed that many cutscenes.
No.
Has that always been a trend, though, where, every expansion, they just have more?
It has less than Endwalker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I think the difficulty is like the what the content. So if the cutscenes, like, you know, some of the ones in Endwalker were really pivotal, really moving, special moments. Same with Shadowbringers, they were really like visceral, like, oh my god, this is the end of the world, blah blah blah. You know, really interesting stuff. There were a lot in this one, like Kamadani says, where they kind of repeat a lot of stuff that, like, there's a lot of the same themes, like especially during the trials, where you're going to learn about the different cultures. They all more or less follow the same formula. Where it's go up, find out something unique about their culture, say, wow, your culture's unique.
Yeah.
You overcome the challenge, everyone else fails the challenge, you get the token.
Yeah.
There's like a lot of that as a general overtone. I agree that it can, you know, or could feel a little repetitive. I didn't particularly feel that personally, but I get that.
The only way I could see people feeling like that is if they just weren't really engrossed in whatever was going on at the time. Because like I had no real sense of bad pacing issues, except maybe going to a Heritage Found, like that first part. I do agree with Sphene is a little strange. If Sphene was introduced early in the story, maybe like just after the coronation, I think she would have worked a lot better, and maybe the pacing would have been good. Like not directly involved, but like there with some scenes, you know, like she has some kind of input at some moment. But the actual God, what's it called? Shock Toral. Like, I don't know, it was Cowboy World. It was so funny and gross. Like it was a moment of levity, like an area of levity, kind of like Best Away Burrows was for Endwalker. Which I mean, I also know people didn't like. Which I
didn't like Best Way Burrows, to be honest with you.
I think it's grown on me at least a little bit as time's gone on. I can definitely still appreciate that, you know, they wanted a moment of levity there.
Yeah.
But I think that entire era works as is. Definitely, it's the levity. It's the they talk funny. Look.
Yeah.
I've said this before. I think there didn't need to be 7 trials. I think they could have cut out 2. I don't think the Moblin one is necessary really to the overall story. And I think you probably could have combined the Shabral and Mamulja ones probably as well.
I agree with you.
Yeah.
There was a lot of front-ended, like, Final Fantasy, like classic Final Fantasy elements to sort of ease you in. And then like I agree, when we went to Shalonia with Erenville, that was like a really nice break. And I kind of wanted more of that. And then Heritage Found was so jarring, like you say in here, and like what I was saying, you've just gone through this massive cutscene of breaking into this place, done a really cool dungeon, and then you're in this really alien world, and then suddenly it's like, hey guys, are you new here? We've got like hydroponics farms, electropes everywhere. You know, check out our society. And instead of being crazy, everyone's like, yeah, cool, nice society. You hate souls? It's your culture. Whatever.
There is one thing I didn't mention here, which I think is an issue I have with the writing, especially as I've gone through it a little bit more, is I forgot what they called it, but the extra dialogue you get when you're just talking to random NPCs and like while you're doing quests is very, very minimal. I actually wish there was more and kind of better writing, because if that's one thing Ishikawa was really fucking good at, is making really fucking good like side dialogue. Like the stuff with Emmett Silk and Shadowbringers, like you always wanted to fucking talk to him. It's like the second you finish like the cutscene, like what's he got to say? They don't have anything as important to say, unfortunately. I think there are a couple here and there, like actually worthwhile dialogues, but other times it's like, that was crazy. Whoa, the thing just happened. Like that's they didn't do more writing, and they didn't do it as well with those parts.
Right. Yeah, I agree.
Another issue that I particularly have with the pacing, which is not an issue necessarily with this expansion alone, but has become an increasing issue with each expansion, is that during the MSQ, outside of cutscenes, talking to people, there is very little actual gameplay if you're not in a dungeon or a trial.
They really dropped the ball hard on solo duties in this one. There's just not enough.
And
there's not enough like quest stuff. like when it's
very
go
rarely
and
even
rescue-
you're very rarely even fighting things in the overworld.
Yeah, the quest where it's like, oh, go and help Jimbo because he's trapped. You'll go over to Jimbo and you'll fight like one toad, and then you've rescued Jimbo. Like there's just there needs to be definitely more combat within the MSQ. That really did. You know, when you're watching like 6 hours of cutscenes without doing any combat, that's rough. To be fair, that is pretty difficult.
Yeah. Okay.
There's something to learn from though. This was a reset expansion. It was meant to be slow paced. It was meant to be cozy. It was meant to like ease us into some you know, lower stakes content, lower stakes world, but also like drop threads for the future. And I think it achieved that. I enjoyed Dawntrail a lot. So,
It'll be easier to judge, I think, once we're a couple patches in, because I think when we look back at expansions, we always kind of include at least the 0.3 stuff, you know, because that really completes any expansion.
Yeah.
Like especially with like Shadowbringers and especially Heavensward. Heavensward is not Heavensward without Revenge of the Horde, I would say.
Right.
That's true.
So I'm definitely eager to see how that comes out, and I definitely got to give props to the writers because these are like the kind of the greener, I don't want to say greener, but the
they were the students, weren't they? They were the newer writers.
Yeah. It was the Bard quest guy, the Dancer quest guy, which gave me some pause because like that quest wasn't very good.
He's also responsible for both. He was also responsible for both Pandemonium and Myths of the Realm. So
well,
I normally liked one of those much more than the others.
Yeah, which I was definitely kind of like. I was a little skeptical as far as the writing would go, but I think they managed to do a pretty good job.
Yeah,
I agree.
Yeah.
And like you said, I mean, definitely the patch cycle here is going to be important because Endwalkers wasn't particularly good.
No,
true.
So they can't do another because this expansion's had a little, you know, there's a bit of a rocky start for some people. If they have a bad patch cycle, oof.
I almost don't want to include the Endwalker patches in Endwalker. You know?
No,
it's like,
it's
its own. Like I like it, but it's definitely its own.
It's
thing.
not Endwalker related.
Well, yeah, I agree with you, and I don't. I mean, I would say I don't necessarily like it as much as you do, probably, because like. If I cut off Endwalker and just included the base expansion, Endwalker would be my favorite expansion. But if I include the patch cycle, I cannot justify to myself making Endwalker the best expansion.
No, Endwalker.
Yeah, it wouldn't go as high for me, but I agree with you. The patch cycle drags it down quite a lot.
Yeah,
it's crazy. I don't feel like you can do this for any other expansion. If you cut out the patches, like the MSQ patches from Endwalker, the transition to Dawntrail would essentially have been the same, I would say, aside from just a little intro, which is so weird to say.
I would suspect that the stuff with Y'shtola and the Void is going to become more relevant during the Dawntrail patch cycle.
Yeah, there's going to be some
of the key.
Yeah, there's going to be some exploration with that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, there you go.
Yeah. See how they do with the patch cycle Kamidani.
Well, there's a lot of feedback coming in from Dawntrail now, so I'm sure they'll take that to heart. And well, some of it, I hope.
Don't listen to the weirdos.
Not the weirdos.
No, be careful of the weirdos. But also remember that the combat in 8.0 is going to be the best it's ever been. So maybe they'll like, you know, they've told us that's the big revamp. So
he always says this, doesn't he?
Yeah. Maybe maybe we'll get better MSQ combat during 8.0, guys.
Right. Okay. Thank you, Kamidani. Next, MogMail. It's from Lamau Tia. From non.
No way. No way. Lamau
Tia. For sure.
Yeah.
Only if you're best friends.
Hi, speakers. I have rewritten this many times to be as short and concise as possible. Sorry for still being long. I also use the Eorzean names for the races here, even when I'm talking about Tyrell people. Sorry. Well, yes, otherwise it'd be very messy, because you'd have to mention what the first called them. All right, without context, do you guys think the writers are trying to quietly retcon the gender ratio for Miqo'te and Viera? And what do you feel about the idea to disregard the gender ratio lore entirely, now that every clan have female and male options? For a context, by the time I got to Shaloni, I noticed how for every female Mikote that was on screen, there were 2-3 male Mikote with more screen time and lines than her. At first, I thought perhaps they somehow got more equal ratio in Toral, like they have in the first, but then they make a point to say that female Hrothgal are still rare. I haven't found any comments regarding the Viera, but from my casual observations, there seems to be a slightly higher number of women than men. The most logical answer is that the writers let their biases bleed into their writing, and there were either not communication between the lore people and the writers, or they would rather disregard canon lore than have a Mikote woman as a random sheriff, or random tribe leader and heir, or second promise, or so on. Meanwhile, Hrothgar women are still rare, but they make a point to mention that in Toral, the genders are equal, rather than have women be considered born leaders like in Ilsebard, so that almost all the Hrothgar leaders we meet are male. At least when the lore mentions no gender ratio, it is not as glaring, and the writers use Eorzea and Eorzean clan-specific lore so little that nobody would really notice if they did that. Well.
Not sure.
Well.
I would be surprised if they let their unconscious biases into this part of the game, but made an effort in quite a lot of other parts of the game to have like strong female leaders.
Yeah, they've whatever.
So I don't think that's yeah.
Whatever.
I don't think
I
that's,
mean, you know, they got Wuk Lamat in there. She's doing her thing.
Yeah.
yeah.
I don't. You know,
They've
I
got
think the reason why we have this weird gender lore is because we couldn't play as the opposite gender originally, and they had to make it make sense in the lore. And I think now that we can play them.
In fact, they even implemented it with Hrothgar,
Yes.
which is a stupid thing.
Yes.
I think the gender ratio stuff for Viera, as far as I remember, it's only mentioned with the V on the first.
Yes.
I think. Because
Yes.
I know
I
if you
think
talk
so.
to the wandering thaumaturge or whatever, he just mentions that Viera in general are very recluse and they keep to themselves in the jungle and all that.
Yeah.
But I don't think he goes into the gender stuff. But the Mikote stuff is definitely just holdover from 1.0. Which and I don't blame them for not sticking to it. I think it's kind of dumb to be like, we can't use a female character here or a male one, even though we want to, because of the 1.0 link.
Yeah.
Come on.
The wandering
It's already ruined by seeing other players.
The wandering dramaturge says only 1/8 of Viera children are male. So I guess they're at that.
It still means
I will
But
say-
remember,
I mean-
Viera was gender locked. So again, it is
I would
because
also-
of that.
I would also say I still see significantly more female Viera NPCs than male ones.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Also, in regards to like how there are male tribe leaders and like the sheriff Mikote is also male Mikote. I mean, with the Seeker of the Sun, it is a predominantly male-dominated tribe. It's Keeper of the Moons that are more matrilineal. I think that just might be the function of how Mikote have grown in Toral, but they haven't gone into detail for us yet.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But it doesn't mean just because like there are fewer male Viera than female Viera, it doesn't mean that every society in the world has to have a specific ratio, or it doesn't like it. In Toral there just happens to be more than there are in Eorzea or whatever. It's okay.
And even if you want to kind of rationalize it for yourself in game, like you are only seeing very small snippets of the world comparatively. Usually like major settlements and cities and the like. So it wouldn't. I feel like it would make sense to see more equal gender ratios than you would in like super remote places that we don't really go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's fine.
Yeah.
Also,
I don't think it's
players ruin the ratio immediately. Like,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, of course.
Well,
I know they don't count technically, but I mean, you're seeing cat boys everywhere.
Yeah.
You're seeing female Hrothgar everywhere now. I love that site though. That's fine.
players ruin the whole game.
Yeah.
Chad is also correct that we see very little of Shaktaral,
Yeah.
which is
see
where the
the
Viera and which is where the Turali Viera and Mikote come from. We just don't necessarily see a lot of their culture.
Remember, they're like this huge, like nomadic. Well, lots of them are sort of nomadic small groups that travel. We see one of those that has settled in a little corner in the zone.
Yep.
There will be many small groups of them wandering around Chateau.
Maybe the Ceruleum infused with their DNA and equalized the genders. Who knows?
Yeah. You never know.
Yeah. So I saw someone mention that also female Rogadin didn't exist in 1.0, and that's true. But in 1.0, there weren't really much lore on any of the races, to be honest. So and they were there in A Realm Reborn. So
they did rapidly rebalance the number of female Rogan in Realm Reborn. I never really felt like there was that issue.
Merlwyb was there in 1.0.
Yeah.
Yes.
So as a leader,
literally leader of a nation. So
and who's the leader of Gridania?
Well, they're all
and
female.
Who's the leader of? Yeah, exactly. So I don't understand. Like, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Women be shopping.
Women be shopping.
Yeah.
We wouldn't be leading.
They've actually been adding until Wuk Lamat. They've been mostly adding male leaders to the settlements that we've been going to since A Realm Reborn.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I guess the balance. I don't know. Or it's just random, as it should be. Okay. Anyways, I think they're adhering to lore when they want to. With this,
exactly.
I think it doesn't.
And they
really
will stick to it as well as they can, but sometimes it doesn't matter. Yeah. Like, this doesn't matter.
Yeah. Okay. Where are we on time? Okay. I guess we have to move on since we started late today. No, let's do one more. Fuck it. Okay. This is from Row 2 from Midgardsormr. Hey, speakers. After watching episode 410, and with enough time having passed for a constructive criticism of the MSQ to be less likely dismissed by players who enjoyed the expansion, I believe that one of the main reasons some players did not like Wuk Lamat and the MSQ overall due to her prevalence is because of how little consequence she faced and how little growth she experienced overall. She remained an idealistic and naive character, similar to Alphino in A Realm Reborn. However, unlike her, Alphino was forced to grow as a result of his failure to naively trust the Crystal Braves. Lys also did similar things to Wuk Lamat during Stormblood, but she initially failed to motivate the Alamegans to rise up against the Garleans, since idealistic motivations is not enough for them to sacrifice their lives, and that when Xenos attacked Ralgir's Reach, it asks Lys that is she really willing to sacrifice them for the sake of freedom? The challenges placed in front of Wuk Lamat were easily solved by us and the Scions. While yes, she supports her people, talks of peace and happiness, but the only quality of a leader I believe she has is knowing when to delegate problems she can't fix to others, and that I still believe my reply to Gulul Jaja after the duel, that she is still not ready to be the leader of Tural. Perhaps that's why it's both her and Kona. But he's going to be doing a lot more than her in actually leading, in my opinion. Sphene should have done an Emmet to her and said, I'm still right in my decision, and I would have done it again for the sake of my people, in the end.
Sphene did say that!
She did, yeah.
She did. I thought this should... I don't understand. That is pretty much what she said. So I don't know why you're quoting that part. But maybe that was supposed to be a... I don't know why that is puzzling.
That bit's not correct.
I would also say that having the correct... Knowing who to delegate to is a very strong is a very strong quality of a leader.
Yeah.
I agree. The most important part... See, here's the thing about Wuk Lamat, and we talk about her every fucking week. But
that's never
we will continue to do.
Here's the thing about Wuk Lamat.
5 more years of Wuk Lamat discourse.
when she starts this journey, she thinks of herself as X. This is what I am. And as she progresses through her journey, she understands and is faced with the parts where she's weak. And instead of running away from that or trying to pretend like she did during the thing where we went to the Isle of Ham, blah blah blah, she confronts her weakness. And although you might not see that as growth, she understands the areas where she falls down on, and Kona complements those, and they're his strengths. And so they both rule and complement each other. Kona's not going to go out and fight in a massive battle. He's an absolute wimp.
What?
I mean,
I don't know if that's...
I don't know.
No, he's not, I know.
Well, compared to Wuk Lamat, sure.
Comparatively, yes.
there are some things she's better at. So she'll go out and go headstrong. He uses his brain and says, well, I'm not going to rush headlong into danger. I'm going to hastily make a Crusader Kings 3 alliance and force Razathan into a war of succession. And, that's fine. It was one expansion's worth of growth as well. Alphino has taken a long-ass time to grow into who he is today. A long-ass time.
When people say this,
expansions worth of growth.
Yeah, I really think Alphino took off in Shadowbringers. I really think he really took off during his time in the first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so he had a long time to get up there. You got to cut her some slack.
When people say this, I'm not gonna be mean. I promise. I'm gonna be nice and respectful here. It feels like we didn't play the same game, right? Because I was cut out everything from Wuk Lamat, right? In terms of like her growth during the Rite of Succession or whatever, right? I would say one of the most important moments is the confrontation with Zerulja, right? Where like she comes to the moment of realization that like she cannot be at peace with everything and it's not all smiles and happiness. She has to kill her brother. That is the only way this ends, even when she tries appealing to him. And after that, you do see the kind of synthesis of her ideas of being a bit more pragmatic with Kona. I mean, she already appointed him, so she kind of had that growth a bit before, but this is kind of the culmination of it. And her kind of determination, I guess I would say. Like, I don't know how people aren't able to see that, especially with Zerulja. And then it comes to a head as well with the, final trial and everything. And she talks almost directly to the player at that point, which is almost egregious, I would say. Like, it is, you see it happening. I don't know how you can come to that conclusion.
I agree with you.
Chas bringing up a very interesting point that, like, Alphino did not listen to people when he was first introduced, which, well, Wuk Lamat is able to listen to people to a certain extent.
Alphino came in with his Leveilleur education, paid for by the richest people in Charlotte, and I thought he was the shit.
Yeah.
You remember in A Realm Reborn when him and Alizé were going around in the cart thinking, oh, these fucking useless city states. Shit.
Yeah.
Shit talking.
And, like, you mentor Wuk Lamat, like, directly, more so than any other, maybe some job quest. I know you'd mentor some people, but, like, very directly, she asks you for advice very often because she
imagine
wants
if
your input.
Alphino was as responsive as Wuk Lamat is to receiving advice in A Realm Reborn.
Yeah.
Like, she listens to your advice and takes it to heart and acts on it too. Like, it's right there. It's right there. You can see how unconfident she is during the patches for Endwalker too. She's not very sure of herself. She feels like, does she even really deserve to be in this position, or can she do this position well? By the end, it's not that situation anymore. She's clearly grown.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I don't have nothing. Other than stop trying to put Lise on a pedestal. Don't fucking try to rewrite history, all right?
Yeah.
We were there. We know. Lise is not... Stop talking about Lise. You're triggering me with Lise. Stop.
Her time is over. Like I said, another 5 years of this.
Leave her. Yeah, I think...
Lise's time is over.
Wuk Lamat is replacing... well, maybe Lise, but maybe also Xenos, like the endless Xenos debate. It's now the Wuk Lamat debate.
She won't have the same longevity. Wuk Lamat's going to be at least where we've done this bit. She's going to lead to Wrong. That's
right.
Close enough.
She's not going to be coming along with us much. She'll be in the patch cycle probably. And once 8.0 comes around, we'll have moved on.
Well,
she's not a stay character, I don't think.
And I think that has been solidified if that ranking thing is going to end where it is. Because they always listen to the JP player base. And so... Well, to be fair, both regions, the West and JP, are both low on Wuk Lamat anyways. So I think Wuk Lamat's going to be... relegated to more side content from now on. I don't think we're going to see her much.
I think they do that.
Well, they'll try. I mean,
it's an
we'll
unfortunate consequence of overexposure. I just think that, like, they gave us too much Wuk Lamat all at once.
Yeah.
And, like, even if you do like her, it can just be you want You want a variety of things.
You need to have the when you finally think it's time for you to get your cozy Erenville arc, and she's back.
Mm-hmm.
Like I fully get that point of view.
I feel like I got everything I needed of Wuk Lamat in this story. I don't really know what else they're gonna do with her now.
Exactly. She should rule
Yeah.
the country.
Yeah.
Maybe we will go there in cutscenes and stuff. Maybe they will help us out. Maybe when we go to Mericidia, we need Toral and she'll appear. But she's not going to be like, in every dungeon with us going forward. She's not going to be a major plot point.
No.
Her story was contained.
If you want to talk about growth, though, I don't know how you can ignore some of the scions. I won't say scions. Particularly one scion, Y'shtola.
Oh yeah.
You love Y'shtola with
Mhm.
all my heart. That girl doesn't get written sometimes.
I know.
She just
It's strange.
doesn't say shit.
Considering
Or doesn't.
Considering she's often used as like the poster girl for 14, it's very strange how little growth we get to see from her. We did, to be fair, we did get what's her old lady?
Matoya?
Matoya. That arc was good for her.
That was nice, but it was still small. This time around, she came in, and the trouble with Y'shtola is she's written as like a true note, like super high, like learned woman. She's like
Relatively infallible.
Yeah.
Yeah, she just comes in. She's like, "Oh, I'll just destroy this."
Yeah.
And then it's done.
Yes.
And it's like, she needs more foibles. She needs like a little depth to her now. We need a
commit to
Y'shtola.
writing her if they're going to use her again.
The issue is that they've written her such the point that the other scions are afraid of her. So she very rarely gets very rarely gets spoken back to.
Yeah.
That's true.
It's true.
But to be honest with you, Gyogi, I felt like towards the end of the first arc, like the scions were such a circle jerk.
Yeah.
They never like.
Yeah,
there was
they're a bunch of like
always just,
Mary
good idea,
Stews,
great idea.
honestly.
Oh, good idea. Like,
Yeah.
all right,
Yeah.
okay.
I don't know. I mean, I don't seriously think that poorly of Y'shtola, but I just think comparatively, if you think of like a main character in this story, she has not been able to progress
No.
due to
No,
negligence
okay,
from
fine.
writing.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Thancred got Thancred completed his arc. Urianger had that Moonbreeder, and then the meeting the parents, one of the most
I feel like
beautiful
that was
scenes in
also the
Emerald.
end of an arc for him as
Yeah.
well. With
I don't necessarily think the scions need growth other than maybe Y'shtola. I think
Yeah,
they've
the
all
rest
had
are
arcs.
fine.
Just because they've had the arcs doesn't mean they don't need to exist, though.
No.
They can
Oh,
still
no.
appear in the story every now and then.
yeah.
But Y'shtola feels very neglected.
Like, look
Yeah.
at Estinian.
Yes.
His arc is complete, right? And he just kind of pops around now, and that's fine because he doesn't
Yes.
have an arc. He's just a dude
Been
that
chilling.
exists. Yeah,
Since
and that's
Yeah.
fine.
point 3,
Yeah.
he's been chilling.
Yes. Yeah, we'll see what happens to Wuk Lamat. I am.
I hope she she'll appear a bit, but I hope she doesn't like come along on the dungeon runs for the expansion.
Yeah.
like,
I wouldn't be surprised if she does, but hopefully she's more just like there as support in the same way that Alphino and Alizé were there as support this expansion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think she'll be a major role in the patches to whatever they decide the turning point is.
Yeah.
Which I think will be fine there. It'll probably be something that Toral involved, so I think it makes sense there.
That's fine.
Past that, she can appear from time to time like any other kind of leader character
She'll
that we have at this point.
become Emmerich and Lys. They'll just
When we have the alliance
sometimes show
meeting,
up.
she'll appear.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Okay. Well, there you
Which
go.
is fine.
I'm like in the middle on Wuk. I don't know quite where I am in the Wuk Lamat. Like if I like her or not. I do like her more than I don't, but I think I just got overexposed like a lot of people. Like there's so much of her.
That's exactly how I feel about her. I like
ask
her.
me
I just
again-
feel like I've seen too much of her.
Ask me again in
Yeah.
like 6 months, and I will probably have
We'll
swung
see.
in the I like her more then.
I always feel like she was there enough. She was the main character. I don't know what you don't want
She
the
was
main
the main
character there.
character.
Like,
No, it's
I
just
prefer.
there was.
I personally prefer 14 to be an ensemble.
I guess I do
Well,
too.
traditional Final Fantasy is a party-based like exploration.
Yeah.
So I sort of agree with that.
As a character, I like Wuk Lamat. It was just I think it also with the previous MogMail, there's a lot of Wuk Lamat in the story is all. I wish I got it more
Yeah.
Ask me again in 6 months.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't hate
After
her
some
though.
patches, we'll see.
As a character, she's good. I like her as a character. Okay, have put that on the wiki. All right. Moving on. That's MogMail. You can send in more MogMail. Not right now. Our website's upgrading our database or whatever, so it's down.
Oh,
for
wow.
now. But it's speakersxav.com/MogMail. When you see this on YouTube, you'll be able to send in MogMail. All right. Now we can move to the Yoshi-P.
If Yoshi-P wasn't a coward, he'd look like this.
Millennium.
Well, you
interview.
are right in that.
that's true.
Rollo.
Yeah.
I was gonna call you Graha. Because
What an honor.
Yeah, Jesus.
because he dresses up even when he dressed up as like a Reaper and then a Gunbreaker. Like he had versions of the outfit that covered up skin that the Vanillin game doesn't have.
Right.
No. Show some skin, old man.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
God, imagine you like near the convention center. You're going like bung a cigarette off some guy, and he's there having he's smoking inside it. You see that? See this?
Okay. All right. This is a French interview that's been translated from Millenium.org, which I found interesting. It's an interesting.
An org?
Yeah, it's an org. It feels a little. I don't know. Feels fancier than a .com or dot. What is the French domain? .fr? It must be, right?
I believe so.
R.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah, BFR.
Okay, so this is in a Q&A style, so it just sort of was just jumping into the questions. So question 1, what are the increased rewards we can expect for Dawntrail, referring to the 1.5 times?
Good question.
Yeah, and this is why we're reading this, because this has been a question we've been asking. Yoshi-P says, as for increasing the number of rewards and the number of items, it might give the teams a lot of work, but I think we can do it. We could take the easy solution, which is to just throw in some new bland and uninteresting items to artificially increase the number of items, but that's not what people expect from Final Fantasy XIV.
Very honest.
We expect.
Is he throwing shade at someone or what?
What are these examples of bland and uninteresting items? I wonder what's on their list.
Potions.
We expect to have polished designs, original things that people want to own. So obviously, to create items that have a certain personality, a certain, what is that? Cachet?
Cachet?
It requires people, artists, people who are going to rack their brains. Try again. That means if we want to increase the number of items, that means more artists, more staff, maybe more orders that we'll do externally if we're not able to keep up the pace ourselves internally, and therefore have internal quality controls behind it. Long sentence. So yes, indeed, it means more work on our side.
Yet to actually address the question.
What
First
happened? Yeah. Classic Yoshi-P. What happened of it during 6.x? The team really racked their brains to try to offer players some slightly new content, new types of content, variant dungeons, that kind of thing. But the rewards were perhaps not up to the cost in time and effort to get started on this content. And so unfortunately, real life often catches up with players. You have to choose what you invest your time in. And so if the rewards are not attractive enough, we can see that players do not get started on content unless there is a carrot that is interesting enough for them. This is true.
See, that's true, but also not necessarily true. It's not that real life got in the way, and I was like, I'm too busy to do the rounders. It's just, I knew from the outset that it was shit rewards, so why would I bother?
It's just, where you invest your time.
Yeah.
I'm also going to say, not an answer to the question still either.
Still not an answer.
What
are these 1.5 times rewards?
So that's something we learned. That's a lesson we learned from the season, from the patches that have passed. It's precisely to create rewards that will interest players, that will push them to discover content that they've never tried before, to try their luck, to get items that seem so interesting. And so, I announced, I think, 1.5 times more rewards than what was planned. And the teams are very, very motivated to reach this objective.
Okay.
This is the last paragraph, so maybe.
What? Remember the question was, what are the increased rewards we can expect?
Yeah. I had a meeting the day before I left for France with my teams, and so we talked a little bit about increasing these rewards, and we think we'll gradually increase it between patches 7.1 and 7.3 to reach this famous figure of 1.5 times once we reach patch 7.3.
Fucking hell,
Thanks,
Yoshi-P.
Yoshi-P.
What a waste of time.
Wow.
What an absolute and the fact is that you can't even achieve that within like the first patch. It's gradual. We've already stepped back from it.
God, I love him. I love how he answers things.
And what are they?
We'll
All I can say is what they're not. They're not bland and uninteresting item.
Well, that's actually something though. He is promising
It's not
that it is gonna
it's
be
not a Realm Reborn red or whatever.
right.
I want to know what he means by the bland. I want to know what the list of bland and uninteresting item is to begin with.
Materia,
Materia,
fireworks,
Materia.
and,
That's material.
Allegan Platinum.
I'm sick of every piece of content. Oh, here's another way you can get materia.
Yeah.
And it's always like
here from Island Sanctuaries. That's fucking insane.
but the reward
Why
is
could you do
I've
that?
done enough hunts in the first like 2 weeks to have enough material for the entire
right.
expansion.
That's true from the clusters. But like when you get materia in quest, it's the tier below the best one also. Like,
Yeah.
it's always like the
That's so annoying. And sometimes it forces you to have one and then choose between 3 others. So you just clutter in your inventory with old fashioned shit materia.
yeah. What is the new exploration zone, Bosnia Eureka, gonna be?
Oh, well, when I said we were going to talk about this, I talked with my team.
Mela, you know we're already... It starts like this. We took the time between the last part of Bosnia and the next updates that are coming to take stock of these types of content, these new play areas, try to identify what were the best elements of Eureka, the best elements of Bosnia, and the things that didn't work as well. Then, from there, to give birth to a new play area that combines a little bit of the best of both worlds, and to create interest. So, just FYI, this is machine and AI translated, just so we're clear. That's why the wording might be a little
This
weird.
isn't, yeah. It's not official.
Then from there to give birth to a new play area that combines a little bit of the best of both worlds and to create interest. So to have content that is both interesting in terms of exploration, but which also requires a certain amount of collaboration from all the players to be able to achieve certain objectives. To tell you the truth,
Yes.
to tell you the truth, we're pretty much done with the planning phase, so we really laid the groundwork. We've determined what kind of content the new exploration area will be and what we can expect from it. Programming will start soon, so production is underway. It's really going to be a big project for us, a fairly significant project, and one that I think fans of the Final Fantasy series in general
Will enjoy, maybe?
will enjoy, probably, yeah.
Yeah, I might be missing that.
Oh, it's going to be... Oh, no. Is it not going to be tied
What?
to our world? Is it going to be like a theme park thing? Are we going to like
Welcome
run
to
around?
Final Fantasy VIII world.
Yeah.
It's Attack on Galbadia.
That'd be. I mean,
That'd be cool, actually.
I
Look, he would
love that.
cream.
I would
He'd
cream.
fucking go insane.
I would. Oh,
Balam Garden versus Galbadian Garden exploration zone.
yes.
That would be cool. That
For
would be
no
fucking cool.
reason, we're in the
Yeah.
war between the gardens, which is not a concept that exists in our
I
world.
love the
But
gardens, man.
and I'm going to stop there because otherwise my team might be a little annoyed that I've revealed so much to you.
Stop there. You've not started yet.
And so, a little scoop that is that this content will be like the previous ones, content that will be updated. Sorry.
Obviously!
What a
You're
scoop.
Fucking...
What a
What a scoop! God,
you for
this is my
translation.
favourite flavour of gelato.
That's
Plain.
the content.
I feel like Maud Flanders.
As the different patches of the 7.x series come out. And for now, we're planning the release of the first content for patch 7.2. At least we have
That's
a release
that's
window.
One
concrete
thing, that's a-
information.
Yeah.
that's a
That's
date.
interesting, though. Does he mean 7.2 or does he mean 7.25? Because most of
first-
these have released on the point
content.
X5 patches.
He says first content for patch 7.2.
That's true. He does say release of the first
No, I know he
content.
says that, but sometimes that means 0.25. That's why I don't believe him.
The first
Yoshi-P
content for patch
lies.
7.2 means later content for patch 7.2.
Okay. He's used some
He-
interesting wording there.
Yeah.
Although it's, again, machine translated, so it might not actually be accurate.
Yeah.
But wow, thanks for the no answer again.
Well, yeah. Are Final Fantasy XIV players too rich? Don't come after my Gil Ishgardian revenue service.
Nice.
The
From
IRS.
that's
That's
quite
cute,
funny. Okay. A local currency in a game, especially in an MMO, the higher the value of the currency, the more opportunities it creates for this kind of business. Even if it's hard to call them businesses, but profiteering to use time to recover this in-game currency, which is a real value and which will be exchanged for real value, and which will penalize the most casual players who do not have the time to get involved as much in the game to accumulate money.
That's true.
Oh, you seem to have understood.
You understood it. Okay.
Yeah.
You're a...
Do you want to give a rundown of that paragraph?
Money.
He's saying that, like, if you are able to invest in the economy of 14, you will be able to involve yourself more. Whereas those who are more casual, unfortunately, not be able to get involved as much in the economy, and therefore will feel more isolated from it.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
so in this case, the players are businesses.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty well known that if you want to start making money in 14, it's usually a pretty high upfront cost in terms of time and also gil. But after that, it's a very much like coasting thing. Anything from like loving your crafters to even airships and submersibles, like those cost time and money, but maintenance and usage of it is very
Yeah.
Well,
rich get richer, basically.
Yes.
They do,
Yes.
but it's like there's a soft reset every expansion. And script gear is perfectly acceptable for the majority of stuff, at least to get some money. So the hardest thing is if your crafters are at level 0, catching up right now. But if your crafters have been keeping up, you just haven't got involved. It's not actually that hard to work on. Just gotta put in a bit of time.
Yeah. So the interest for us is precisely to prevent this kind of practice by keeping an internal currency in the game that is not a great value equivalent to real currency in life, to precisely avoid this kind of practice that we consider harmful.
There's one RMT, I think.
So RMT. So you can't buy gil. Yeah, that's because
not yet.
to prevent that. Yeah. In a sense,
not on the Mog station.
In a sense, I too am an MMO player, and I understand a little the pride that players have in amassing money. When you're a crafter and you manage to sell your creations and suddenly you reach your first million gil, your first 100 million gil, there is a pride in having reached a certain level and saying,
I've never reached that.
And saying to yourself, I did well. I understand and share this.
Well.
I understand and share this appetite. What is really important is how we can use the money, because if we were to create expenses that are linked to power, let's say with the characteristics of a job, obviously it would create imbalances that we don't want to happen. Hence, this opportunity that we seized. We had a lot of players who told us that they had too much money, that they didn't know what to do with it, and that they didn't know how to use it.
Oh, poor, that must be awful.
What's wrong with you people?
That's why we created these mounts at fairly high prices, so that it would allow some players to spend their hard-earned money. Well, that's true. There are some people that are at like gil cap and can, there's no point in them getting money.
No, there isn't.
So, and there's nothing.
That's fine too.
Yeah.
You've won. You've won.
Yeah, but
won
what have you won?
The economy game.
You've won money.
But
I'm hitting gil cap.
to have a number in the bottom right of your screen, it doesn't mean anything. It's meaningless.
It doesn't, but unfortunately, there's
It's
no
what
point.
we need in real life, Lakil. We need a money cap.
We do need a money cap.
You know what I need to do to make having money exciting in this game? Introduce stocks. I want to be able to buy stocks in 14.
Why not?
The Eorzean stock market. Yeah, that's.
5 mil on the Garland Ironworks.
Sell.
I'm investing.
Joe Roddy, you should get yourself on the new Path of Exile
Listen,
League.
could you imagine like every week you get to see like what I guess in-game companies go up and down?
Ah,
Oh god,
Here's in stock exchange.
that would be funny.
I'm investing in the Mithril Eye.
Yeah.
They're going to do really well.
No, they're shitty newspaper. It's going down.
No, how dare you?
Garland
You're a
Ironworks has
boy.
gone up last week, so that's something.
Oh, they always would. They'd be a safe bet.
They're a pretty safe bet. Yeah, stable. All right. Anyways, however, we were thinking about other ways to use this money that weren't mounts, but that didn't have an influence on the gameplay. What could we offer to people who would be interested in spending large fortunes? For example, could we not offer them titles to become owners of the Scorpion Cartel and therefore have the title of owner of the Scorpion Cartel? That kind of thing that we think about.
Hang on, what? What's the Scorpion Cartel?
The Scorpion Cartel.
Does
Do they
anyone
mean the what's it called?
Oh, the Syndicate.
The syndicate.
Oh, that's
being
it.
a member of the syndicate?
Yeah.
Scorpion Cartel.
Scorpion Cartel is the French name of the syndicate.
That's a cool.
That's way cooler.
It's cooler, but it's more obvious.
Yeah, of course. But...
that makes it evil sounding from the start.
Yeah, it's a little on the nose.
Welcome to the Scorpion Cartel.
Okay.
Cartel is an inherently evil word.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Insane.
Afterwards, we must be careful how we use our money. You know everything that happened to Telegi Adelegi, so let's be responsible. That's true. Do not forget what happened.
So was the answer yes or no?
The answer, this wasn't a yes and... Oh, yeah, are players too rich? Yeah, it's a Yoshi-P answer, so no. Yes and no. So you don't know. You don't know.
If you make too much money on the stock market, they come and bisect you just immediately.
Oh, God, that sounds scary.
Why no market board in the second city?
Great question.
But we kind of already know that, don't we? It's to keep people in the first city, I think.
It's
all right.
still a good question.
It is. Yoshi-P says, prepare for the... So I've already given you the answer, right? But Yoshi-P is going to give us the answer now.
Here's the 4-paragraph answer.
The first thing to know is that for each expansion, there will be a main hub, a main city, the one that will welcome the greatest number of players. So for us, it is important that this city is welcoming and that it allows for the greatest number of people to be there, since it is where the majority of people spend their time at the beginning.
Yeah, it's the same sentence twice. Well done, Yoshi-P.
The second design philosophy is that we also think about the players who will take the expansion along the way. So take the expansion along the way, who will arrive later. And the fact that if we only put the beginning things in the first city and we put all the higher level things in the second city, then players start later. They will arrive in the first city and say to themselves, the capital, Tuliolal, it's the capital.
What?
Okay. Oh, they're dying.
That's what they would say, though. That is what they would say.
That is
The rule doesn't
That's
talk again.
what I said.
It's the capital. Doesn't make sense. I love it.
There are supposed to be lots of people, and if there is no one, since everyone has already left to do the raids at Solution 9, so the city is deserted. That's also why we separate the different functions in each city, so that, for example, people who want to do raids that are on the memos go to Solutions 9. With the crafters, all the people who do crafting stay in Tuliolal, where there are markets.
Explain me what crafters are.
This is obviously just janky French to English translation, but
yeah.
It is
Yoshi-P just talks like that for real.
Okay. But the crafters, all the people who do crafting, stay in Tuliolal where there are markets, which allows for a dynamic because it's an MMO. So we see the other players, and it's so important to have cities that are filled so that they have life. The biggest problem
That's true.
Yeah. The biggest problem in truth is that there is this place called Limsa.
You ever heard
He's got a point. Keep going.
So true. Just
to let you know. That's just...
He knows. He knows.
The capital! Tuliolal is the capital!
Oi. Okay. Okay, sorry.
The greatest interview.
This is a fantastic interview. The biggest problem, in truth, is that there's this place called Limsa, which has such a unique charm, beautiful views, a particular arrangement, and an attraction on the part of the players. That means that no matter how much we develop new cities, every time we lose against Limsa, and it's infuriating. Limsa is a problem, confirmed. Burn it down.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
one day?
He is right there, yeah. But to be fair, that's nice, isn't it? That means new players to the entire game, see loads of people in Limsa.
That's true.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's a minor inconvenience anyway. It's not that much of a bother.
Yeah.
I will say one of the issues this expansion that has never been an issue in previous expansions is that only Tuliolal has hunt boards this expansion. which is irritating because
Ooh, yeah.
every previous expansion has had it in both cities.
I agree, and
Actually-
the law is that they've continued hunting in Solution 9 anyway.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
You know, it's a real problem right now too. Is the fucking crystal in Solution 9's too far away. To
Oh,
teleport.
here we go.
You have to
It
walk up
drives
to the
me
fucking
nuts.
edge.
And you have to drive. You have to go so close to it too. It's
Why?
drives
Why?
me nuts.
When I teleport to
This is the
Solution 9,
greatest
am I not
anti-botting
within
measure ever.
touching range of the crystal?
design problem. You've made
I
it.
love
It's
it.
an issue. You fix it. Fix it in the next patch.
Please, just all you gotta do is widen like the target or something like that. Like, come on, dog.
It's
What the
so annoying, and the fact that
I don't
it's
wanna-
not enough just nudging a little. You have to walk all the way up to the like invisible wall to like.
Yes.
Right.
As if you're gonna jump off.
I'm glad you brought it up. Okay. Why not be able to change servers in any city?
Great question.
In truth, this system seems simple on the.
What?
You make like the
That's-
sound from that one fucking like
That's
Zelda.
in the text, everyone.
Yeah,
it's not. He didn't just have like a stroke. By the way.
In truth, this system seems simple on the usage side, but behind it requires very complex and very heavy operations for our servers. And so that's why we limited it to 3 points. Yes. These 3 access points allow it to be possible, but traveling between worlds, traveling between data centers, it's a fairly complex operation and requires a lot of work, especially for our server engineers. And so,
That already.
if he wants to make sure you understand,
He always says things twice.
But it's true.
and
He
so
doesn't want you to misunderstand.
right. And so if I have to tell them that from now on all the big cities in the game must be able to have this point, I risk first a packet of resignation letters on my desk, so we'll avoid it. But it's still something that we keep in mind that we hope to perhaps develop in the future. There's another thing that for me is important, is that I think that compared to other MMOs, the specificity of Final Fantasy XIV is that the starting cities remain important points and populated points. Where in other MMOs, we will realize that the cities, even before the first expansions, end up being completely abandoned, because in the end, they are the starting points, and then we no longer really have a reason to be there. Whereas now, there are still people in Ul'dah, there are still people in Limsa Lominsa, and there are still people in Ridania. And it is also important for young shoots. For young shoots.
Young shoots.
To see that sprouts, to see that there are still people. And the same for people who want to be mentors or who want to get involved with the community, to be able to find, well, you're new. Come with us.
What?
We will
Jesus?
show you things. Yes, I have.
We will show you things.
Come.
What is
And so this dynamic for me is very important. It is a bit specific to 14, and I do not want to break it. Oh, this is the journalist.
No, this is Yoshi-P. It's in
Okay.
his section.
No, this
Yeah.
is not Yoshi-P. This is
This is the journalist.
This is Yoshi-P mumbling under his breath.
Yeah, I expected it had to do with shitty netcode.
Maybe French is just like that. It just sounds rude no matter what you fucking
The
do.
French, yeah. Okay.
You are new. Come with us.
Come.
We'll show you things.
Come
with
now.
What will happen after? Oh, sorry. That's from the. Sorry, this is from the translation. So this is the translator's note, actually. Yeah. Sorry.
Well, he's French. He can't help it.
But
I'm
the
He
sure.
can't help me, yeah.
Right. What will happen after level 100?
Great question.
Yoshi-P says this is a point that we're currently discussing with the teams. It is a discussion that we are really having at the moment with the other members of the team.
Honestly, I promise you, we're really having this discussion right now.
Namely, literally what we are doing to make people understand that there is an evolution in the jobs.
What?
That is to say,
That doesn't make any
interesting.
sense.
well,
that
that's
is
an interest. I think I know what it means, though.
yeah,
Oh,
That
as
is-
in like he wants to show progression
yeah.
in
Yeah, that is to say, increasing a figure of a level cap is one thing, but what interests people and what somehow brings people closer to their characters is this feeling that we have an evolution, a character who grows, who becomes more and more powerful. And so how do we make people feel that their character is becoming stronger? With the figures, it is a little difficult. Do we keep this idea of level cap? would there also be the use of materials that allow the character to be strengthened? So there are really, so there.
What makes me feel really strong in this game is when I can, like, go and one-shot the combined prayers of all of the kobolds at extreme level, and yet I struggle to kill a llama in the new area.
They're just built different over
That's
there.
what I struggle with.
Fair enough. So there we are, really thinking about what we could do. Do we keep the level cap, or do we find another way to progress? On the contrary, do we continue to increase the levels, but with other things on the side?
He's dismissing that one.
We are exploring the different avenues a little at the moment. We're exploring the different avenues a little at the moment. The other point we are discussing at the moment is that we have indeed reached this rather significant stage of level 100. But we have also reached a level of complexity of use of the jobs, which is almost becoming a critical threshold where people no longer have enough keys or buttons to be able to use all the actions. So what do we do?
That's true.
Do we continue in this direction of complexity with always more new actions, always more new keys, which make the use perhaps even more complex for some players? Or, on the contrary, do we think about a new way
Au contraire.
think about a new way of playing the jobs, another system of complexity, which is not just an accumulation of more skills, but another way of using them, another way of playing? So that's the kind of discussion we're having right now, and the kind of thinking that we're doing to try to find a solution that pleases everyone.
How are they going to balance the amount? Because, like, when you compare the amount of buttons you have for, like, Pictomancer or Viper to, like, Scholar and Paladin, it's crazy how many more two of those jobs have than the others.
True.
Yeah, Viper's like a PvP class.
Yeah.
I think
whereas the others are massive.
They might do the combined buttons, like for the 1, 2, 3s. I think
maybe
they'll have to do it at one point.
What 1, 2, 3s do I have as a Scholar on a?
Scholar kit doesn't make any fucking sense. It's all pieces anyway, so that's not.
You are correct. The Scholar kit doesn't make sense.
No,
that's why people like it for some reason.
You freaks.
In one of the pre-Dawntrail interviews that we covered, they talked about like augmenting skills, like getting skill points to augment your current skills and like change the way they work, or like miniature skill trees for skills and stuff. I do think that would be a very interesting way of adding to your class without creating too many new buttons. I'm interested to see what they do. I hope they don't just go the same route always. You know, let's try something new.
Yeah.
Level 100 though is so satisfying. Like I love seeing like
absolutely
what level 100 mob.
Yeah.
I'm level 100.
Yeah.
Just make Paragon levels from now on. Keep it at 100.
Yeah.
Make it the same thing as leveling, but now you get Paragon levels.
Diablo 3.
Yeah. We also have to always keep in mind that Final Fantasy XIV is a game that wants to be quite universal. A game that wants to appeal to both people who play occasionally, as well as people who are going to play a lot every day, and be very passionate about the game and the high level. So there may also be people who are involved that will be very reluctant to change, because obviously when you have spent time remembering your rotation, when you have been so involved in a job and mastered all its subtleties to precisely pass the most difficult content, I can understand that there is a certain reluctance to have in-depth changes. But at the same time, our goal is also to create excitement, to create motivation, to discover something new, to always refresh the formula. Because staying on the same basis forever is not very healthy for the game and for the future of the game. You always have
disagree with that. I think every expansion you should treat as a new, like your job is new, and you spent 2 years learning it or whatever. You know, don't expect to.
Parts of me agree with you, Mela. I think it's kind of crazy that, at least in the community, there's an expectation. The job's going to play essentially the same since Stormblood. And it has been. And I'm like, it's not right. I want a little bit of a shakeup. And I like that sometimes some jobs do get them, but I'd be fine with like a major shakeup for almost everything at this point.
I think I would agree. White Mage has been the same since the Realm Reborn.
Mailer's saying this because he's Black Mage pilled. Black Mage had a new rotation almost every expansion from the Realm Reborn through to Shadowbringers.
That's true.
That may partially be true, to be fair, Yogi, but I do think, like, I think expecting you to, like, if you've mastered the game in A Realm Reborn, expecting you to now be a master of your job for eternity with no major changes is like a little much.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Like I don't want the fire phase and ice phase just be like that's it. That's all Black Mage is ever gonna do. It's all it's ever gonna be. Or Paladin will always have the fucking holy sword, whatever it's called, Etheric. That's always gonna be its thing. I'm like, I think like even the jobs I really enjoy playing and like a lot, like I would want them to change at least somewhat significantly down the line in a couple of years,
Yeah.
Yes.
I agree.
Okay. We're almost at the end. You always have to change things a little, bring something new, otherwise you risk stagnating. So our goal as creators is also to always challenge ourselves, always question ourselves, and we hope that the different decisions we make and the changes we will make will be to your taste, and that you will be able, just like us, I think, to take advantage of these new features to discover the game in a new light. And I will leave it there, as to not spoil the surprise too much either. You haven't spoiled
You spoiled nothing.
So that's
Thanks,
good.
Yoshi-P.
Thanks, Yoshi-P.
That was a great interview.
That was good for
perfect.
Various reasons.
Okay, there you go.
Sure,
Millenium.
was 1-to-1 on the translation.
Oh yeah, it was perfect. Okay. Well, there you go. That's food for thought. We'll be probably doing more of the French interviews next week because there are a few more. That's it for today, though. We'll be back next week, same time, same place. Remember to follow on Twitter at SpeakersXIV, twitch.tv/SpeakersXIV, exclamation Discord in chat if you want to join our Discord server. If you're watching on demand, links in the description. Remember to send us MogMail, speakersxiv.com/MogMail. And if you're watching on demand, post-show is coming up, so make sure you catch that. We'll see you there. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.